Hello, I'm Debbie Bell-Hosking for FinextraTV at the Temenos Community Forum 2024 in Dublin, and I'm joined by Serge Munten, BIL, and Mick Fennell of Temenos. Welcome to you both.
Thank you, Debbie.
And it's good because we've got a bit of a buzz behind us as well, so it's nice to be in this environment together. I've got a question for you, if I can start with you, please,
Yep.
Serge. And we're talking about transformation. So you've been through a major transformation in modernizing your core banking and payments capabilities with Temenos. Can you give us the scope of that project and how it went?
Yeah, so it was quite a transformation. We actually decided in 2018 that we would completely revisit our IT landscape. So we changed our core banking system. We changed our asset management tools, so we actually upgraded our AAA solution. We connected Salesforce to the whole new setup, and we went live big bang on the 1st of October last year. So long journey, 5 years, with a lot of challenges, but we finally could do that. On the payment side, I mean, payment is a special topic for BIL. We serve half of the Luxembourg markets on the institutional side. So we needed to be really there for these institutions. And that was one of the biggest challenges we had, and that actually we solved with Temenos alongside with the implementation.
And I mean, talking of that, you guys being a systemic bank, one of the things we've talked about is how much testing you guys had to do in the whole process because of that, and the rigor that you went through, and also working with partners, I believe, as well, yeah?
Yeah, for sure, yeah. I mean, the testing protocol was very heavy. I mean, we are, as you say, we are a systemic bank. We are supervised by the ECB, not just the local regulator. So the testing protocol is a bit stricter, let's say. So we spent in total 18 months on that. And actually to do this implementation from building the system, testing the system, and then going live, we needed some extra resources, and we actually relied on some partners like LTIMindtree, for example, a very important one for us, and Deloitte.
And it's good to hear this backstory of transformation and this journey that you've been on. What would you say have been the main advantages of your new integrated platform to the bank, but also to customers?
The benefits we see from this implementation is that now we can onboard volume-based clients. I mean, when with the previous one, we were no longer able to onboard banks or institutions having peaks of activity of 50,000 payments per day. That's one. The second is that to create new products. In our BLS, our legacy core banking system, the cost was getting higher and higher, and actually the time to market was getting worse and worse every year. So we had to do something about that. For me, that's the second point. And the third point, I mean, it's a consequence of the two first, that we can grow in terms of clients, but then we can also think forward to bring new services for our clients.
Yeah.
And this is something I'm hearing with transformation is the subsequent growth.
Yeah.
Definitely. If I come to you, Mick, now let's talk about regulation.
Yeah.
We're seeing new regulations and changes within the payments landscape.
Yeah.
Can you embellish this topic a little bit more for us, and also the impact on banks?
All banks are impacted by it, and many financial institutions, understandably, I don't want to say complain, but they do recognize that a lot of their time is spent dealing with new regulations rather than innovating, rather than growing your business. And it's felt that, and so that's why like partners like us and people like us who look at that regulation and try and ensure delivery of it are really important. And that's where we focus on the customer and say, right, what's required for your platform to stay within the regulations. And you need a very, very flexible platform. You also need someone who's delivering changes to you and who's actually got a bit of a more integrated view, because a lot of time these regulations, I talk about payments processing, but it affects lots of different areas. Even when we talk about something like the SWIFT changes, ISO 20022, it's not just payments, it's affecting things like customer structured information, it's affecting statement data, etc. So it's not just the payment transaction and processing itself that the regulations hit. And obviously obviously there's lots of other regulations impacting other areas of banking.
And that's actually something. One of the reasons why we chose a platform like Temenos, because when we had to decide actually to implement a new core banking system, we wanted to benefit from the community effect of Temenos. I mean, as Mick was saying, I mean, there's a lot of regulations. It's just, I mean, you just have to stay relevant. You implement your regulations just to stay relevant, and then you innovate, and then you're customer-centric, and that's it. And for me, the very important point here is that when we decided is that we wanted to actually mutualize, in a way, the cost of those regulations or market changes that happen along the way.
And so Mick, you set the scene. You said this lovely word, we've got to stay relevant. How must banks adapt? How can they adapt to achieve these things?
Well, I mean, I suppose one of the key areas that we're dealing with all the banks, and we're looking at all the banks, is adapting their environment and moving more into the cloud technologies. One of those is about things like continuous updates, so that we're able to supply those updates, so that we manage the environment for them and work with them in your environment providing those updates. I mean, innovation goes hand in hand with regulation, because it's not just, hey, yes, you've got to implement the regulations, but then you've got to actually innovate to put out products to your customers. So it's all very well saying we've got to keep the regulation going, but hand in hand, that regulated platform that you're using needs to allow you to innovate, needs to allow you to launch new products, needs to allow you to leverage that newly regulated software facility component. So for us, it's about having a dynamic platform that is continuously upgraded and helping our customers to keep moving forward. That's the thing. It is about modernizing your capabilities. It is about taking advantage of a lot of these new technologies we're providing. They're there for a reason. They actually help the banks be more efficient at doing this. Regulation is not going to stop. It's just, in fact, it may get worse, if you can believe.
It's growing.
It keeps growing. And especially with organizations as they grow and go into multi-jurisdictions. And you know, for Bill, they're both doing SEPA and SIC for Swiss payments as well. You've got the international side of things. So there's a huge amount of plates to keep spinning. Our job as a supplier is to try and give better software to help them keep those plates spinning. And that's what we would recommend. We would recommend moving towards these more open and more configurable and flexible platforms, and taking the power of the cloud and using those particular characteristics of the cloud to help you.
There are so many words spinning in my head at the moment. Not only the plate spinning, but you talk about that balance between regulation, innovation. You speak about relevance. You speak about growth. You speak about costs. It's just such an interesting topic, and it's been so wonderful to hear about, you know, from both sides in terms of the work you're doing. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Deb.
Thank you, Debbie.